Get the latest Zacks research, analysis, and rankings on exchange-traded funds in Exploring ETFs. We're going to try and shed some light now on emerging market ETFs with our ETF strategist Eric Dutram from Zacks.com. So recently, Eric, a lot of emerging markets have not been faring so well. What's going on?
That's right. Well, it all kind of stems from the taper talk back here in the U.S. with the Federal Reserve. This has obviously impacted dividend securities here in the U.S., but it's also had a big impact on foreign securities, specifically in emerging markets. These securities have been hurt by outflows from some of these high beta countries, particularly in Asia, for example, India and Indonesia. And then also we've seen current account deficits and currency weakness too. And these factors are all kind of combining together, make investors really kind of pull out from a lot of these countries and are creating huge losses. Specifically India, Indonesia, and Thailand. All three of these markets have seen losses of more than 10% over the past month alone.
Wow.
So
that's the reason for the slump?
Exactly. And if we actually look at some of the ETFs in this space, we got EIDO and IDX for Indonesia, and then EPI and PIN for India. And as you can see in the chart, down between 10 and 20% over the past month. But it's worth pointing out, not all emerging markets have been hit by this slump, and a couple have actually seen some solid performances in light of this, kind of broad emerging market weakness.
So you're going to highlight the ones that are still going strong,
exactly.
Right? What are some of the top performers?
Well, surprisingly, given all the bearish news about China lately, a lot of Chinese funds have actually been among the top performers. I know a couple weeks ago we highlighted some of the top performing China ETFs this year, and these are actually still performing quite well. PGJ and then the two China tech-focused ETFs. These kind of average out to a 10% gain over the past month. So pretty strong performance, especially when you compare it to funds in Indonesia and India. And then also beyond these tech-focused ones, the material plays, infrastructure, financials, these were among the most hurt earlier in the year. And these have actually also seen strong performances, about 8% gain in the past month.
You also have an unexpected pick among Latin American countries.
Right. Argentina has been, pretty much a terrible economy to be invested in over the past couple of years. They've had really high inflation, low growth, but it's been turning around at least in the short term. It's debatable whether they can keep this streak up, but the Argentina ETF, ARGT, it's a Global X product, and this one's actually seen about double-digit gains in the past month as well. Growth has been picking up a little bit in the country, and they've seen solid exports as well, and this is kind of helping boost their economy, while a number of other nations have seen weakness.
And then there's another one that you highlighted in Peru.
Exactly. Peru is a market that was also facing some weakness earlier in the year, but this is a big exporter and miner of silver and other commodities. And silver has really been coming back strong in the past couple months. And so this commodity strength is really lifting up the Peruvian market. And this has also been a top performer in the emerging market space, about an 8.5% gain over the past month. And if you look at the three markets that I outlined earlier, you compare them to Indonesia and India, you see a pretty big divergence developing in this 1 month chart. All three are really, kind of rising up, and India and Indonesia are really slumping down here. So, it's a very interesting trend that's developing.
All right, so we always like to ask you the $65 question here, which is about what it's worth. How do you play this trend going forward?
Well, I think you should really take a close look at some of the India, Indonesia markets and really avoid them for the time being. They really got to get inflationary woes under control, and then also the current account deficit. They got to bring this back into line. And before this happens, I don't know if they're really going to be able to turn it around. On the other side, you can look to commodity-producing nations. These are really going to see some strength over the next couple of months, especially if the current trends continue and oil, gold, silver, all these kind of things keep rising. So I think a play in countries like Peru, maybe even Russia, if you're really into a high beta play, could be better picks here in the next couple weeks.
All right. Own any of the ones that you talked about?
Unfortunately, I do own some IDX, which is the Indonesia ETF in my portfolio, but I view that as a very long-term play, so I'm not too concerned by this recent slump.
All right. Well, thanks for the disclaimer there. In the interest of just letting everybody know what's going on, right? You can take a look at some other articles that Eric has written about the ETF space. He actually has articles that are on the ETF section of our website that do bring a lot of insight into his analysis of what's going on, different factors affecting that space and different sectors involved in the space. They're interesting articles and they have some good insight. You should read them. Get over to Zacks.com, go into the ETF section of the website and check those out. With Eric, I'm Terry Ruffalo.